Roman Rudin, strange occurrence in the region of the heart. So today, this is class preparation part 2, and the story we're reading is a Turkish Middlegame. Previously, we've read this list here. So let's flick over to the text. So it's only 5 pages long. Last week we read this page, and this time we'll probably read from here on as a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll read this page, and finally the last one here. Let's go back to the beginning for this week. Oh, too far. Let's get to there. Okay, so, well, you've set the boundaries for yourself quite narrowly. Is it worth keeping such a tight rein on our brothers, though? The enthusiast of long epic prose will be hard-pressed to find 10 great novels by the writers born in the 20th century, even if chosen very indulgently. All the same, our craft is a rare one, and the muses have largely moved on to rock and roll and cinematography. And this is this week's reading from here. 10 even. Give me some examples so I can counter them. Perhaps I could suggest André Bielli. Heavens above, making the whole city a hero of our time and then sending it off to war. Yes, those wounds are still bleeding. Let's not talk about the war. Let's talk about style and the metaphorical. Let's jump over the second row to the first. What do you think of Buhakov? Or are you tired of that era? We found ourselves again on a broad stone road and walked side by side, illumined by a crescent moon and cirrus under it. No, no, he's sort of outside of time, though I sometimes think that Ivan Blagoy's trials and tribulations, all the events that followed the meeting with a stranger on a bench near the water, just like us, my companion chuckled. I glanced at him. His profile didn't seem sinister to me. But, but you and I know each other. Though it's true you're a foreigner, I'm reluctant to see the entire story as anything other than a justification for the master's headlong rush towards hell. Yes, nowadays people seem to use the fashionable word escapism for it, but in those days it led to such consequences. Well, who else? Perhaps we've exhausted the first row, unless you include Bunin. Before that, there was Guy de Maupassant, though to be fair, he didn't write any novels. I see you are having fun going through the great authors starting with B. It was the easy thing to do. You're right. The great and mighty Russian language has exhausted itself, he said, before asking me in English, what would you say of those who consider Russian not their only mother tongue? I'm sorry, I don't know any foreign languages. I prefer those writers that have been translated into my native tongue. There's an entire chasm of stars these days. That's true, an entire chasm. But if you follow the criteria laid down, you can find room for them here too. Well, give me some examples then, so I can try and counter them. How about Kafka? Did you devour the story of Land Surveyor K? Sorry, didn't you? Didn't you devour the story of Land Surveyor K in one night? Of course, that goes without saying. I can see you're captivated by the era. Absolutely not. What do you think about the Antipodeans? About who? I pointed towards the ground. My interlocutor was confused for a few seconds. Oh, you mean those? Yes, of course. Where everyone walks upside down. Which of those Latin Americans do you particularly like? Marquez, I suppose? It rained for 4 years, 11 months, and 2 days. I don't know why he felt the need to divide that work into parts, pages, and paragraphs. It doesn't even need any punctuation marks, as it's one mad, unending spiral. Well, I wouldn't object if you were to mention Borges and Cortázar. You've used up your best cards. What are you going to do now, with the game far from over? You are very difficult to emulate. Here I addressed him by his name, which I promised not to divulge, and he politely bowed his head without realizing I had just softened the blow of my next move. It concerned the middle game in particular. But I was thinking that we hadn't got there yet, so I just moved the knights and the bishops forward. Is that so? Are the rooks and the queens next? I'm all ears, don't laugh. It's an Anglicism. Yes, one of them even writes in English, Rushdie. Satanic verses. I've heard of it, but not read it. You're better off reading Midnight's Children, poetry in prose, luxuriant, fragrant poems, each page with its own inimitable flavour, each chapter convinced of a new wonder, the whole book conveying the quintessence of India. Yes, you're right. After reading it, any desire you had of going there just vanishes. Who else? Orhan Pamuk. Of course, we're in Turkey after all. What about the Nobel Committee? I made an exception in his case. Intriguing collection. Who then is your queen? Recently, I've been whiling away my nights with Murakami. How detached I've become from life. Another great man of letters, and this time Japanese. Anyway, we've got to our destination. You can't go any further. I looked around. We were standing not far from a colossal tower with battlements, between which I could easily imagine archers hiding, with arrows resting on taut bowstrings. The tower looked like one of those rooks, with which, as I thought, I had managed to check the Grand Master. Across a water-filled moat was a bridge, which would inevitably have to be drawn up just as soon as my interlocutor entered the tower. Eva was snuffling peacefully on my shoulder. The writer pointed to her. What a pity nobody overheard the extraordinary conversation I would like to have had with you. It doesn't matter. Nothing's lost. I'm glad it turned out as it did. Who minds that we never actually knew each other? That there was no circumstances under which you could have recognized me, and that if we had met today, we would have gone our separate ways at the first turning. Instead of which, I am now having an imaginary dialogue with myself out of one of my own self-instructional books of inspiration.